I'll speak in two capacities here, if time will permit. I'll speak as a lawyer and I'll speak as a Nigerian. As a lawyer, it is well documented that there are labor laws. There are laws that when you don't work, you don't get paid. It's the law. We cannot do anything about it. You understand? The Labor Act specifies that if you do not go to work, your employer is entitled to withhold your pay for the period of time you didn't go to work. That is if it does not sack you outrightly. Are you getting me? But at the same time, as a Nigerian, I would say, okay, in the spirit of fairness, okay, people have negotiated, the court has given an order. Okay, in order to mitigate the hardship they have passed through during this strike, you ought to have paid them full salaries. But for me, the law takes precedence over morality. You understand? It might be moral to pay them their salary, but is it lawful? If they go to court today, the court will tell them, yes, you did not go to work for so period. You don't deserve to be paid for that period. It's in black and white. But I want to advise the federal government in the interest of Nigerian students. In the interest, not in the interest of ASU, because ASU, for me, they have overdone it for me. But in the interest of Nigerian students, they should just, okay, ASU, we are going to pay you your salaries so that our children can go back to school. But legally, ASU is not entitled to pay for the period of time they have been on strike. They have been on strike, sorry. And our people have a parable that, you see, when you are going out, you meet a man beating his child. You ask what did the child do? You say he stole meat or something. You say beat him is a thief, right? If you are coming back in the evening, you still meet that man beating his child. The question is, what did you even say that child did? Say, he stole me. Is that why you are still beating? You now begin to doubt if the person is the father of the child truly. That's what ASU did. They overdid this thing. They had the sympathy of Nigerians, but they didn't know when to stop. It now became that they were now fighting for themselves rather than the Nigerian students. That was what the Nigerian population turned it out to be, because the federal government made so many offers to them that they rejected. Are you getting me? So it was now like, come, these people are working for themselves, so not for us. Because of the time they took and the stance they took. But at the same time, as I said, as a Nigerian, our appeal to the federal government to still take a second look at this and pay them their salaries for the interest of Nigeria, not because of them. Because legally they are not entitled to salaries for the period they are on strike. They are not entitled. You cannot pay someone for not working. There's no private entity that you tell to pay somebody salary for not working. So how will you want government to do that? But at the same time, because the government, the primary duty of the government is the welfare of its citizens, that's why we want to say, okay, don't overlook the period they did not work, pay them so that our children can go back to school and learn. That's just it.
Federal government will have empty. They will pay them, just drop it. Is it not the way they do to the doctors? I will not pay. So don't be bothered yourself. They will pay the ASU. Nobody will allow ASU, even the parents, even those, let's say citizens, we cannot allow ASU to go on strike. Talkless federal government to come and hold the ASU, they must pay. I don't know work for it. ASU are not close the school. It's the government close the school by themselves. So they should not bother. They will pay them. Just drop it. They will pay.
Well, it's very, very unfortunate that the ASU members are being paid what they are being paid. I don't know what they are paid. They are being paid, but whatever it is, I believe it is not good enough, and a reason for their outburst again. And we've never had an ASU strike as lengthy as this one. Well, I may not know what the MOU was, and then what also led to, okay, the resolve and then go back to work. I don't know. But whatever it may be, I believe it is something that will favor them. So now, for them to come out and say, okay, these people are not doing their own part, you know, on the side of the argument, I believe there may be something wrong. And then it is really a bad signal, because I heard the Minister of Education was, on the news sometimes back saying he has failed in his job. so you can see the situation our educational system is. In fact, the budget itself on our educational system is something to look upon. From 1999 till date, it has never had up to a 10% of our budget. It never had carried 10% of our budget. So education is something that our leaders never paid attention to, you know. So it's just so sad.
If I say maybe it's dead trying to come back to life simply because federal government have been able to pay deaf ears to certain things ASU have said, and there is these discrepancies between ASU and federal government. For me, I believe that at this point, because ASU made a publication yesterday that after their meetings there's possibility of going back on strike. Now what happens with the insecurity in the country? Students just travel to school. People left their different homes and travel to their school locations. Maybe probably in space of 1 week, 2 weeks, say they should go back. How safety is their life? How do they even weigh the value of lives in this country? Where do people get this money from to send their students back to school? Within the short space they gave, and there are schools who already slated exams for next week to start. How will all these things be fixed and people going back on strike? So I am really bittered, and I feel that Nigerians who really want good for themselves, that are not selfish, will come out and say the truth. Will come out and tell federal government why they need to have a synergy and understanding with ASU. ASU is a body that has existed for quite some time.
This is not what we need at this critical time of ours. And then the government, the party and the government in power, I really don't know how they want to get to win their elections. You know, I am not supporting any party, mind you please, because these professors, these lecturers are usually the returning officers. Don't you think they can turn their back on you? You know, anything can happen. Moreover, let's even keep that aside. These people are agitating for something they earned. It is their earning and their entitlement. I believe you should give them, you know, cost of governance alone, if it can be cut. You know, all these little bills can be settled. You know, when you check how governors, ministers, and the presidents, what budget their offices hold, you know, you will know how much we spend, we lavish on cost of governance, which is needless. And here is education, a very critical sector of our economy, you know. It's something that the government should really look upon and then try to make a resolve, pay them whatever they want, and then let students go back to classes, you know. It's sad, you know, it's sad that education, something as important as education, we are holding it and then we are giving it a look that as if it's something that is not important.
How will a professor receive a salary of 121,000 naira? Do you know how long that professor was in school studying to become an expert in his field? The number of days he worked, you are stating labor laws. How does that improve the economic system or ASU law? You have labor law existed, but when they were on strike 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you didn't even give them attention. And you are stating labor law at the detriment of trying to deny them their rights. While we have other things that are not important, be given more attention. I feel that the priority of these countries need to be set right, not to blame politics in people's life and educational system, because it will not fetch us anything. 2023, they are saying it's just by the corner, and we cannot even hold certain candidates accounts of what they want to do, because we will only listen to what they will do until they get to office. Until they get there, we will know whether they will do it or not. We have not been convinced on what you will do. How then are we sure that you will do it? So, assuming we have a president that is coming for a rerun, a matter of ASU would have been forgotten because they would have settled them because he will want to go back to office. But since it's a plain ground that everybody is coming to drag for the seat in office, that's why all these things are happening. And they are simply paying politics, I will tell you. And it won't be nice.